Hey, it's Don, the Auction Professor here. Today I wanted to talk about the number one thing most people don't get right about reselling. Now, as I've grown older, my thoughts and feelings towards things have changed, obviously. I've had kids. My life experiences have affected what I think and how I look at things. But the number one reality for me and many other sellers is that it's not about the money. That's what most people miss. Most people think that reselling is about making a lot of money, being rich, being whatever the case may be, getting in a ton of money. For me, that is just a secondary or a third consideration for what we do. The number one thing that most people don't get about reselling is that it's about freedom. It gives you the freedom to do and be whoever you want to be. You're not confined to any specifics by a company you're working for or a boss or anything like that. It's freedom, plain and simple. That is what drives me to do this business more than anything else on this planet. It's freedom, freedom, freedom. That is it. That is the number one thing that I get from reselling. Now, money-wise, it's great that it comes in. It's great that we're doing well, but that honestly isn't the considering factor for us. It's being able to spend time with my wife, my kids, my family. For us, too, that freedom has given us the ability to do what we want when we want. I don't have any confinements to my life based on work or business or anything like that. I set my own calendars. I set my own clocks. It's all on me. That's the point. It all comes down to that freedom aspect of it. Being able to have that type of freedom is the biggest plus in anyone's life on any kind of job you could imagine. The freedom to be who you want to be when you want to be is so important to me personally. I worked for somebody else for 20 plus years of my life with no freedom, no anything, punching a clock. Now, working for somebody else, there's no company loyalty to employees for the most part these days. You're just a number in someone's book. That's all you basically are for the most aspect of it. And at the end of the day, you could work for some company for many years of your life and end up not having anything to show for it. You may not make enough to put money aside. Now, of course, it depends on what type of company you're working for as to how they treat you. But in general aspect of things, I've worked for some major companies, including Walt Disney, and I was just a number in a book somewhere. That's it. I was replaceable. Everybody's cross-trained. They could swap out an employee in a blink of an eye and not even worry about it at a place like that. That's the point. There is no job security anymore. So whether you're worried about being on your own or you're worried about working for somebody else, it's the same feeling, the same exact risk. But with you being your own boss, you don't have the other aspects of it. Sure, you have to be able to handle every aspect of that business, and you have to want to do that because it can become a chore also when you've done this for many years. Now, we're heading towards 10 years of full-time online selling. We've been selling for more than 20 years online on eBay and other platforms. And for us, being a reseller has honestly changed our life, where we don't have all of these tie downs. I can do what I want, when I want, and how I want, as I said. Those are the key factors. Freedom. It all comes down to freedom. And when I'm talking to people out there, most people think it's about the money. Most people just want to make all that money, not have to work for somebody for the money aspect of it. They want to make more money and bring more home. That's not what it's all about in my book. It's a lot of work. In many cases, it's way more work working for yourself doing online reselling than it would ever be working for somebody else. Now, again, it depends on what kind of job you did. I worked in restaurants from every position you could imagine, from a dishwasher all the way up to a regional manager, which was my last spot in a restaurant. It's a dirty, long-hour job. I worked 60 to 70 hours a week minimum as just an assistant. As a general manager, it's probably like 80 hours a week for what you get. Even if you made a ton of money, you have no time to spend it. That's back to the freedom aspect. You have no freedom working for somebody, regardless of what you are making. If I want to give up a day of eBay or listing on Amazon or something, it's no big deal. You know, I can do that at any time. I can have an employee come in and do it. There's so many different aspects of this that make this type of life like just so important to me. I would never, ever want to go back to working for somebody else ever again. I would do anything it takes to keep this freedom. It doesn't matter anymore. The other aspects of what I sell, how I sell it, or anything else like that mean nothing to me. You know, I don't care about having a $1 million house or a Lamborghini or anything like that, or a Porsche. It doesn't interest me anymore. That's not what drives me at all. It doesn't change my life. It doesn't improve or anything else. It's just more worries in my book. You got to do this to be happy. And for me, the freedom is what makes me happy. Even if I made less money doing this, I would still do this as opposed to working for somebody else. I can't speak of that enough. That's just a key factor in what I do and why I do this. Far too many people think this is just easy, and that's why they want to get into it. It's easy money. That's the draw for most people, it seems, to be a reseller. It's not easy money. Yeah, there's easy flips. You can always make an easy flip, but putting the entire package together to make a business that's going to sustain you year after year and grow and bring in more and more income as you do this is not easy. It's not something for everybody, but anybody can do this if they have the drive. I mean, that's the key to it. My drive is freedom. I love the freedom that this gives me. I can't express enough, especially during the holidays. It's just such a great feeling to know that you don't have to go to work on Christmas, New Year's, Easter, or any of these holidays. For 20 plus years of my life, everywhere I've worked in restaurants or retail, as a general manager or as a regional manager, I've worked every single holiday that has been out there. Food industry, the holidays are busier, so all hands are on deck on holidays. So this is just such an eye-opener, a refreshment from what I used to have to deal with. It takes the work, though. Don't think this is going to be easy money. It's not easy money. It's not about the money. It's not about being easy. That is not what this is about for me. It's about the freedom again, to be with my wife and my kids anytime I want and to spend the time that I've missed for 20 years of working for somebody else. That's what I get out of this. That is the number one reason I do this, the biggest reason by far. Money is well down the line. It's freedom, freedom, freedom of doing this. Now, all of this is going to depend on what kind of history and job careers you've had as well, too. Because if you haven't worked in a restaurant or some really awful job, you may not have a bad experience working for somebody else. It's just, the way life is. It just depends on the hand that you were dealt in life, basically, what you've made of it, where you can go with it. Most jobs, you can only go so far, but with this type of job, with what I'm doing now, my business, I can take it wherever I want. You do have to keep in mind that whether you fail or succeed, it's all on you. That's just the biggest important factor of this. And that goes right back again to the fact that it's not easy money. Now, if you're just in this to make a whole bunch of money, yeah, you may still be successful. I'm not saying that's not, something that people can do. But the point of it is, though, you should want the freedom. Even like things that I do, like sourcing. There's tons of resellers out there who have to go sourcing 5 and 6 days a week, 6-7 hours a day to make enough or to get enough in to sell. I don't have to do that route, thank God. I've got bulk, I've got pickers and things like that. So people bring it to me or I can buy it in big bulk. That's cutting off. That's more freedom than having to go to stores and do picking and sourcing like that. There's many ways to source. Wholesale is great because you can spend more time doing other things. Buying in bulk's the same thing as wholesale. It gives you more time, more freedom. So I may not put out a lot of sourcing videos because my sourcing isn't like everybody else, but I've got that freedom to do what I want. I also have the freedom to use my time as I wish. So if I want to work 15, 20 hours a day, I can do that. I can make my business grow by doing that. But it's all on me. It's all my freedom to take it however I want. But that's my take on it. That's what I get out of reselling. Other people may have a totally different opinion on that. Not saying it's wrong or what, but for me, it's freedom. That's the plain and simple fact. I would make less money to have this type of freedom if that's what it had to be. That's just the way it is for me. Freedom is number one. Money isn't even that much of a consideration, as I said, because I don't have to be rich. I don't have to be a multimillionaire or a billionaire. I don't have to own a jet. I don't have to have some fancy car or some mansion to live in. I don't need that. It doesn't do that much for me inside of me. So for me, that's not a consideration. I'm not flashy. I don't have to have all that stuff. I grew up without it. I don't need it. I don't miss it. I have what I want and what I need in life, basically. So, that's the way it is for me. If you took something away from the video and you liked it, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell a friend.